Hello everyone. In this video, we will be analyzing the significant developments in the India-EU relationship, specifically focusing on the recent high-level meeting between the Prime Minister Modi and the European Commission President Ursula von der. We will be examining this partnership through the several key dimensions. First of all, let us delve into the context. The present foundation of our discussion today is to analyze the historical meeting that took place during the February 27 to 28 between the Indian Prime Minister as well as the European Commission President. So, who was accompanied by the entire European Union College of Commissioners. So, the visit has unprecedented in two particular ways. The first one is that this is the first time the entire College of Commissioners has traveled outside Europe since the start of their new mandate. And then it is also very significant because it is the first such comprehensive delegation that in the history of India EU bilateral ties. So, for these two important reasons, it is very significant. And then the most significant outcome of this present meeting was setting an ambitious deadline to finalize a comprehensive free trade agreement by end of 2025. This proposed agreement is substantial, encompassing not just trade but also included an investment protection agreement and also a geographical indications agreement. The President von der Leyen herself emphasized the scale of this potential agreement, stating that if concluded, it would be the largest in the world. Now, let us understand what is the particular significance to India in this aspect. So, first important is it offers the economic diversification. So, India has been accelerating the trade negotiations with multiple countries in the recent times. So, though many FTIs has not been signed as of now, and there has been some delays with the partners such as the UK, Australia, and others, this agreement would strengthen the India's position in the global trade networks and reduce its economic vulnerabilities. So, we are looking for an FTA. And then the second important is it provides a robust technological cooperation. The India EU Trade and Technology Council, the TTC, will deepen the engagement in the crucial areas such as semiconductors, AI, high performance computing, 6G, digital public infrastructure, etc. So these are the areas that are governed in this regard. And the third important, it enhances the India's strategic autonomy by reducing the dependencies in critical supply chains. So particularly in areas like semiconductors and clean energy, a key priority which has been set by the Indian's foreign and economic policy. That is why we will be getting the supply chain resilience. And the fourth important is it supports the India's green transition through cooperation in clean energy sectors such as the hydrogen, wind, especially the offshore wind, and then the solar energy, and also the sustainable mobility, which aligns with the India's climate commitments and the sustainable development goals. And finally, it addresses the skilled migration, which has provided the framework for the legal, safe, and orderly migration of the skilled workers, especially, which is beneficial for India's growing workforce and also helps address the brain drain concerns with a regulated environment. So, this is all the entire significance of the this particular visit by the EU commissioners to India for India and the signing of this joint agreement. Now let us look into the next one, that is what is the significance to the EU. So from the European perspective, this partnership also offers several distinctive advantages, such as the first one is this agreement provides for a market access to one of the world's fastest growing major economies with a massive consumer base of over 1.4 billion people. So this presents significant commercial opportunities for the European business. So they will be getting a market access to India. So India having the 1.4 billion people. So this itself provides them the huge market. And the second one is the supply chain resilience. It enhances the supply chain resilience for the EU. So which is now actively seeking to diversify its economic relationship as well as with the changing geopolitical dynamics, particularly regarding the dependencies on the China. So this is the part of EU's de-risking strategy. So EU is following a de-risking strategy. As part of this one, it will be diversifying. The third important is this particular partnership strengthens the EU's strategic footprint in the Indo-Pacific region. As you all know, Indo-Pacific region has been in the hot topic of the international relations in the past decade. Okay, now aligning with the borders of this Indo-Pacific strategy and allowing it to be a more significant player in this important region. So they want to have a strategic footprint in this region. And the fourth important is it opens the avenues for the defense cooperation through India's interest in joining the EU's permanent structured cooperation, that is the PESCO. So in the PESCO projects, India is showing interest to join, and also a potential security of information agreement, that is the SOIA. So these two agreement India is willing to join, and this diversifies the EU's security partnerships beyond their traditional allies such as the USA, Canada, etc., and the other European nations. And finally, it addresses the demographic complementarity. Currently, the EU can benefit from the India's young skilled workers. So, in order to address their aging population, so they are suffering from the aging population, and India have the young skilled workers. So, and also in order to meet their labor market needs also, they require the India skilled workers. And finally, they look to create a mutually beneficial human resource exchange. So by facilitating that, this is very significant in this particular regard of signing this agreement. And next, we'll be looking into the what is the international significance of this particular agreement. So beyond this bilateral benefits the each country is having, this partnership also carries a broader international implications. First is it contributes to the multipolar world order. So now both the sides have emphasized their commitments to reshaping a resilient multipolar global order. So based on a shared democratic values, and also potentially creating a counterbalance to their power centers. So whichever the major power centers are there, in order to provide a counterbalance in that particular regard, it is helpful. So what is the main purpose here? On the shared democratic values, by using this particular principle, we are going to have this multipolar global order. And the second one is it also strengthens the Indo-Pacific cooperation, as we have seen when we have discussed the significance to EU and the significance to India. So both will be benefited along with the entire Indo-Pacific region. So how? Through the EU joining the India's Indo-Pacific Oceans Initiative. So India has this Indo-Pacific Oceans Initiative and EU will join this. So this is led by India. Okay. And now this will reinforce the growing importance of this particular region in the entire global geopolitics as well as the maritime security. And the third important is the partnership will advance the important connectivity projects. So particularly the IMEC, India, Middle East, Europe Economic Corridor, so which represents an alternative to the China's Belt and Road Initiative. And it also offers a new transportation as well as the energy linkages such as the green hydrogen pipeline, which was covered under this particular project. And the fourth important is it promotes the climate collaboration through the joint work via platforms like the International Solar Alliance, Coalition for the Disaster Resilient Infrastructure, and then the Global Biofuel Alliance. So International Solar Alliance, Coalition for Disaster Resilient Infrastructure, Global Biofuel Alliance. So all this will help in advancing the global climate action beyond the traditional forums which are present. And finally, it represents an important geopolitical positioning. As the Ministry of External Affairs Secretary, So Punai Lal has noted that the changing geopolitical context demands a decisive action, particularly regarding the issues like the Russia-Ukraine conflict and the EU-China relations. So this partnership allows the both parties to strengthen their position in a completely uncertain world. So this is the entire significance of this particular visit as well as the agreement. Now everything is not white in this particular regard, so we also have some of the challenges in this particular regard. So what are the important challenges in this India EU relationship are that, so first important is the trade barriers. So trade barriers remains a major sticking point in this particular relationship. So especially an EU official explicitly noted that without a breakthrough on the Indian tariffs on the European cars and alcohol, reaching a deal would be difficult. This itself indicates that trade barrier remains a biggest challenge. And these sectors have been traditional areas of contention in the India's trade negotiations. So trade barriers. So in this, for example, if we can see, so trade barriers, especially in the sectors like the cars, alcohol, these kind of sectors. And the second important is the tight timeline. So there is a ambitious tight timeline appearing given the prior FTO negotiations which have happened with the partners like the UK, Australia and others. We have repeatedly missed this particular deadlines. So this tight timeline is also has a challenge to be missed. So finalizing such a comprehensive agreement with just in few months left. So already we are 2 months past in 2025 and only 10 months left. It will be a very challenging task. So only 10 months left. And the third important is there are different concerns which are existing on the both sides. Suppose the Ministry of External Affairs Secretary Punai Lal has stated that there are different concerns for the both sides. So a decisive clear mandate has been given by the leaders to their teams. So despite a clear as well as the mandate, decisive mandate has been given, but there are different concerns. So these itself says a complex negotiations. So the negotiations will be very complex. That is what he meant to say. And then the fourth important one is the geopolitical complexity. This will create some of the additional hurdles such as, so the shifting global landscape, including the conflict in the Ukraine and the Middle East, so supply chain disruptions, increasing dependencies, some of the challenging environment, everything will form a tough task for the negotiations. So even this Ukraine, USA, this particular dimension and then the Russian dimension to the war, so all this and the supply chain, all this geopolitical complexity will add upon the toughness in this particular negotiations. And finally there are some of the implementational hurdles. So now translating these high level commitments into a concrete actions will require a sustained political will as well as the administrative coordination. So across multiple departments we require coordination, and across levels of government also we require cooperation. These are some of the implementational hurdles. And also it is a noteworthy to note that a 2+2 dialogue in the March 2024 has created a momentum for these negotiations, and both sides recognize the need for a political push in order to conclude a mutually beneficial agreement by the end of 2025. So this is what are the challenges associated in this regard. Now what is the way forward? So the leaders themselves has outlined a clear roadmap with a concrete next steps. So we'll discuss what are these steps. The first is expedite the free trade agreement conclusion by the end of 2025. This has been discussed and we have to make sure that it is done. And then conduct a focused discussions on the defense industry as well as the defense policy. This is much required in order to help this defense cooperation strengthen. And then hold a review meeting on the IMAC initiative, because as you know the G20 summit has introduced this IMAC in 2023 during the Indian presidency, but since then there is no major announcement regarding this particular initiative. That is why a review meeting is required in order on this particular initiative. So that is what a way forward. And next, fourth important is the engage on the maritime domain awareness. So the maritime cooperation forms the significant part of this particular agreement, where the Indo-Pacific arrangement has been spoke about. That is why, so maritime domain awareness has to be a main part of this particular negotiations. And also the convene the next TTC meeting. So the TTC meeting, again, we have to convene very soon in order to deepen the cooperation in the critical technologies. Next, enhance the dialogue on the main aspects such as the clean energy, especially the green hydrogen, which India is looking to master in the upcoming years. And then strengthen the Indo-Pacific collaboration through the trilateral cooperation projects. Okay, so form some trilateral cooperation projects with the Indian Ocean countries and then also the Pacific Ocean countries, and then form this particular strengthening of this entire collaboration. And the eighth important point is develop the arrangements for the disaster management cooperation. So as already the climate change has become a reality, it is important now that the main countries such as the global leaders such as the EU and India has to make some arrangements for the disaster management such as the mitigation, adaptation, resilient infrastructure, etc. And then finally, organize the next India EU summit in India. So with a joint strategic agenda. So there should be some joint strategic agenda that has to be fixed in before, and then the next India EU summit has to be held in India. So this is what is entirely the way forward that can be required to achieve the goals that are mentioned in this particular agreement. So finally, in conclusion, the India-EU partnership represents a strategic alignment between the two major democratic powers, so in particular to this changing world order. So while the ambitious in scope and the facing significant challenges in this particular regard, this particular agreement offers a substantial benefits to both the parties across the various sectors such as economic, technological, security, and the environment aspects as well. So the year 2025 will be very crucial in determining whether this vision can be translated into concrete realities that will benefit both India as well as the European Union, while also strengthening the broader international system. So this is what I want to entirely discuss in this particular video. If you are liking our particular initiatives, please like this video. Also, you can ask your doubts in the comment section. We'll reply to that. And also, please share this particular video with your fellow aspirants so that it will be showing as a gratitude for making such videos. And thank you once again for staying in this particular video throughout this video and listening carefully. And finally, you can visit to our Telegram channel. The link is provided in the description, and there you can find this particular PDF in the of this particular PPT. Okay, thank you once again.